Hello there, it's good to be with you, my friends. I hope you're having a fine day. So, I need to clarify and give you some better information than you are currently getting from your mosques and from your dumbed down priests. And there are very, very few that will really give you the full picture as to what Zionism and what Israel really entails. Because I don't think with their level of education, with their lack of rational thinking, they're able to unpack the problem properly. Now, let me start by showing you a few verses from the Holy Qur'an, from the Mus'haf. And then we're going to discuss it afterwards, right? So let's just quickly look at the verses. فَبِظُلْمِ من الذين هادوا حرمنا عليهم طيبات أحلت لهم وبصدهم عن سبيل الله كثيرا. Right. It is on account of the iniquity of a section of the Jews. وبظلم من الذين هادوا. So it is very clearly, the words say, it is on account of the iniquity of a section of the Jews, right? Very, very clear. The Quran uses the word فَبِظُلْمِ مِنَ الَّذِينَ هَادُوا, not فَبِظُلْمِ الَّذِينَ هَادُوا. It says فَبِظُلْمِ مِنَ الَّذِينَ هَادُوا, which means it does an exception of a particular group of them. It is on account of the iniquity of a section of the Jews we declared forbidden some of the fine things that used to be lawful for them. This was also done on account of the hindrance of so many from the path of God. But let's continue. وَأَخْذِهِمْ الرِّبَى. It was also done on account of this particular section, right? Again, referring to the same subject, right? A section of the Jewish people. It was also done on account of their benefiting from usury or interest when it was expressly forbidden for them, and on account of the extracting the wealth. What in Arabic is وَأَكْلِهِمْ أَمْوَالِ النَّاسِ وَأَكْلِهِمْ أَمْوَالَ النَّاسِ. That is the Arabic there. This is a correct translation. On account of them extracting the wealth, consuming, abusing, hogging, laying possession to the wealth of the people through nefarious means. بِالْبَاطِلِ. It doesn't just say taking the wealth, because just accumulating wealth in itself might not have been the major crime, but it is the methods that they use through nefarious means, bil-batil. For the truth, denialists in their ranks, we have made ready a painful penalty. وَلِلْكَافِرِينَ مِنْهُمْ عَذَابًا أَلِيمًا. The exception is again emphasized here, وَلِلْكَافِرِينَ مِنْهُمْ. So these obfuscators, these obscurers of truth, these vile, repugnant members of their community, we have prepared for them a miserable reckoning for their actions. And then I think there's one more. But then, as if to emphasize that this is not the entire community, لكن الراسخون في علم منهم. The verse comes almost to teach us that do not paint the entire community with one brush. On the contrary, the truly knowledgeable members of the community, and the community who embraces you, right? That community, that section of that Jewish community who is accepting of the difference between, maybe believing Muhammad is a Nabi and he's not. But they are not at war with that concept. They all embrace the code that is revealed to you and was revealed before your time. And so those who establish observance, spread moral refinement while embracing God and the final day, shall we grant the ultimate prize. Now those verses really answer so many questions for me in terms of the current conflict, the current war between Zionism, because today we use the word Zionism to refer to that section which the Qur'an condemns, because we have to have a word that distinguishes those Jewish members of the Jewish community that are not involved in the extortion of humanity. It's through interest, through controlling the money supplies. And so I'm going to use the term Zionism to refer to that particular group, although the Qur'an doesn't use the term Zionism, but we are able to, the Qur'an does draw the line. So I'm just going to use that word Zionism. So the crime of Zionism, according to the Qur'an, the crime of Zionism, and I will explain now, I'll connect these dots for you, is a crime that is not unbroken through history, right? So that crime of extortion, of extracting the wealth of people through nefarious means, of grabbing and dispossessing people, for example, land in the Middle East, in Palestine, it's not an uninterrupted process. It was a process that was restarted. We can pinpoint the exact point where it restarted. And if you look at my video, which I made on the history of Israel, you'll get the details. It's an hour and 10 minutes long video. But all I can say is, in summary, is that process of restarting this corrupt syndicate, the syndicate of Zionism globally, was restarted at the time of the French Revolution. It was when Napoleon opened the ghettos of Warsaw, the ghettos of Frankfurt, or wherever they were, in Germany and in Austria and in France, the Jewish ghettos, that the corrupt elements within this community, within the Jewish community, went to town and started building their system of global exploitation in the form of the global financial system that we today are the victims of. So you need to look at that video to see the details, but I will summarize and say that today the international banking system is the piggy bank of Zionism. It is the platform, it is the financial power base on which Israel and America and the West stand. And it is not as if Israel has hoodwinked America, or that Israel is paying the Anti-Defamation League or paying the America-Israel APAC to bribe senators and Republican and Democrat members of the House and wherever in the world, France, Germany. No, that's not the case. What is happening is that the powerful hand of Zionism is in the global financial system. It is there that they wield their power, because it is there that they decide what car you can drive. It is there where they decide whether you will live on a house or live on the street. It is there where they decide whether you have a job or not. It is there where they decide whether you will have a business or not, because financing and capital is the basis of Western civilization. And financing and capital is in the hand of the big banks, the major banks of the world. And if you go and do a little bit of research on the major banks, you will see that they are all connected to the same master banks, because banks also need banks. You see, banks do not have the ability to create money. If you go to your local bank, he has to order that cash from his bank, and their banks, the banks of the banks, the bank of the banks are the central banks of the world. And it is there where these people control the money supply. And so when you buy a house, you have to go to them. If you want to start a business, you have to go to them. If you want to if you want to drive in a fancy car, you've got to go to them. So needless to say, Western culture today, or let me say Zionist Western culture, is based on the financial system of global Western Zionism. The lifestyle you want to lead, the fancy clothes, the designer brands, the status symbols that you pride yourself in are all based on financing, on having a job, on having access to your credit cards, having access to your bank, having access to your payment systems. And my friends, the point I'm trying to make is that the West, the white man, let me just use that term for now as convenience, the white man in the West knows what happens if he rejects it. then his entire culture, his entire worldview, his world comes crumbling down, because their world is intertwined with the banking system, with interest, with borrowing money, and they don't mind. They don't mind the slow death. You see, in Palestine, we're suffering the quick death. We're suffering the quick death there. We've got a missile wiping our families out. And I'm speaking as if I'm a Palestinian, because that is how I associate with them. The families are wiped out in a wink of an eye. In the West, you will live 50 years and you will die slowly of high blood pressure, of heart disease, of diabetes, of cancer, of stress. Because every day your body secretes cortisol, the stress hormone, which makes you sick, because inflation is driving the value of your currency down. And every year your currency is worth 10% less. Every year they steal 10% of your money. And that 10% is stolen from you, because the money supply has to be increased for them to keep their pyramid system of iniquity, their corrupt system going. They have to print more money every year. Now, if you don't understand this, you need to go and read. You need to make the research, because otherwise you will be like a fool running around thinking Israel wants the oil. Israel is based on America's security in the Middle East. These are all side factors, my friends. The central factor is that Israel is the face of global Zionism. Global Zionism created Israel. Lord Rothschild was promised the land of Israel, and Lord Rothschild is at the head of the banking cartel that controls most of the banks in the world. There's no coincidence. Lord Rothschild is not coincidentally the same person that received a letter from the Balfour from Lord Bell, from in what is recorded in the Balfour Declaration. That's the same Rothschild that controls all the major banks of Europe and much of the banks in the rest of the world. And my friends, that is what this verse is referring to. Global Zionism is its ugliness, its beastliness, its monstrosity. Its monstrous nature is visible in the Middle East, but its viral implications, its parasitic manifestation, the blood-sucking nature of it is more afflicting you in the West, where your money becomes worth less and less every year, where prices go up, inflation. And that is how you are a victim of global Zionism. And that is why the Palestinian cause, the cause against Israel, is a cause for all humanity, not for the Palestinians.